Sir Surendranath Banerjee, born November 10, 1848, died August 6, 1925. Achievements: being among the earliest of Indian politicians in the pre-independence era, Sir Surendranath Banerjee established the Indian National Association that he later merged with the Indian National Congress owing to their common agenda. At a very young age, he cleared the British instituted ICS examinations, but was dismissed due to racial discrimination. He whipped up a strong protest against this. Among the earliest Indian politicians during the British Raj was Sir Surendranath Banerjee. He set up the Indian National Association that was among the earliest political organizations of that era. Later on, Banerjee became a senior member of the Indian National Congress. Born on November 10, 1848 at Calcutta in West Bengal, Surendranath Banerjee was intensely swayed by the liberal, progressive thinking of his father, Durgacharan Banerjee. Read on to know more about the biography of Sir Surendranath Banerjee. After graduating from the University of Calcutta, Surendranath travelled to England in 1868 along with Ramesh Chandra Dutt and Behari Lal Gupta to appear for the Indian Civil Service exams. Though he passed the ICS in 1869, he was dismissed because of a dispute over his right age. After this matter was sorted out in a court of law, Banerjee reappeared for the exam and once again managed to clear it in 1871. He was appointed as the assistant magistrate in Sylhet, but was chucked out due to racial discrimination. Not one to leave challenges lying down his entire life history, Sir Surendranath Banerjee headed straight to England this time. Though he raised his voice against the injustice, his protest failed to deliver any positive result. However, during his stay in England from 1874 to 1875, Banerjee acquainted himself with the works of Edmund Burke and other liberal philosophers. Upon returning to India, Surendranath Banerjee instead started working as a professor of English at the Metropolitan Institution, the Free Church Institution and at the Ripon College. In the time to come, Banerjee went on to launch the Bengali newspaper and the Indian National Association in 1876. He employed these forums to address political and social issues like the age limit for Indian students appearing for ICS. He rebuked the racial discrimination practiced by the British officers through public speeches all over the country, which made him very popular. After the Congress was set up in 1885 at Bombay, Banerjee merged his Indian National Association with it owing to their common agenda. He served as Congress President in 1898 and 1904. Surendranath Banerjee was a prominent nationalist leader and freedom fighter from Bengal. He was born on November 10, 1848 AD in Calcutta, now Kolkata, in a Brahmin family. His father Durgacharan Banerjee was a doctor and a man of liberal and progressive ideas. After his early education, Surendranath Banerjee completed his graduation in English literature from Calcutta University. He successfully competed in the Indian Civil Services examination, which was a very difficult competition even for many able Indians due to the discrimination of the British government against Indians. But Surendranath got final success in it despite many hurdles. He joined the service in India as assistant magistrate at Sylhet. But soon he was fired on some trivial pretext from the service as the British government was not ready to accept any Indian on such a higher post. Now Surendranath Banerjee realized the problems and plight of his fellow countrymen under callous and cruel British rule and decided to raise their voices. He founded the Indian National Association in 1876 AD along with Anand Mohan Bose, another prominent Indian leader of that time. He later merged the organization into the Indian National Congress. He made relentless efforts for the upliftment of his fellow Indians. He was elected the president of the Congress twice in 1895 in Pune and in 1902 in Ahmedabad sessions. At the time of the partition of Bengal in 1905 he denounced the British government decision and led campaigns for the rollback of this decision. After a lifelong fight for his country against British rule he passed away on August 6, 1925 AD. Surendranath Banerjee emerged successful in the Indian Civil Services examination in 1871. Apart from the Indian National Association, he also founded the Indian National Liberation Federation. He propagated his nationalistic ideas through his paper Bengali, which he launched in the English language. A Nation in Making was a famous book penned by him. The British government accorded him the title of Knight in 1921, making him Sir Surendranath Banerjee. Surendranath Banerjee is popularly known as Rashtraguru. He is also referred to as the uncrowned King of India. Sir Surendranath Banerjee was one of the earliest Indian political leaders during the British Raj. He founded the Indian National Association, one of the earliest Indian political organizations, and later became a senior leader of the Indian National Congress. Banerjee was born on November 10, 1848, and died on August 6, 1925. He was the second Indian to qualify the Indian Civil Service examinations, and was appointed to a post in Sylhet in his homeland, However, in 1874 he was dismissed for a minor and apparently inadvertent procedural error. His efforts at reinstatement failed, and as a dismissed civil servant he was also refused admission to the bar. Banerjee felt he had been discriminated against because he was Indian. Banerjee believed in moderate means of political agitation, meetings, petitions and legislative action. A social and religious reformer, Banerjee advocated widow remarriage and raising the marriageable age of girls. Surendranath Banerjee was born in Calcutta to a Bengali Brahmin family. His father was Durgacharan Banerjee, a doctor. Banerjee completed his graduation from University of Calcutta and travelled to England in 1868 to complete Indian civil service. He was also known as the Indian Brook. Banerjee became English literature at the Metropolitan Institution and inspired his students with a new spirit of nascent Indian nationalism. He founded Indian National Association on July 26, 1876, the first Indian political organization of its kind. He gave speeches about the racial biases in India penetrated by the British government. He founded the English-language newspaper, the Bengali. Banerjee was one of the most important public leaders to protest the partition of the Bengal province in 1905. Banerjee was a critic of the proposed method of civil disobedience advocated by Mohandas Gandhi, the rising popular leader of Indian nationalists in the Congress Party. Name: Surendranath Banerjee. Date of birth: 10th of November 1848. Birthplace: Kolkata. Father: Durgacharan Banerjee. Education: Presidency University, University of Calcutta. Books: A Nation in Making, Speeches by Babu Surendranath Banerjee, 1876-80. Party: Indian National Congress. Date of death: 6th of August 1925. Death place: Barrackpore. Surendranath Banerjee was born in 1848 in Calcutta, West Bengal. He has completed the examination of the Indian Public Administration but was not allowed to work because of racial discrimination. Surendranath Banerjee founded the National Indian Association with Ananda Mohan Bose in 1876 to bring together Hindus and Muslims for political action. Surendranath also founded the Federation of National Liberation of India. He merged the INA with the Indian National Congress in 1886 because of their common goals. In 1879, he founded the newspaper The Bengali. Surendranath Banerjee was the first Indian arrested for journalism. Founded Ripon College, now called Surendranath College, in Calcutta in 1882. He was elected President of the Incorporated in 1895 in Pune and in 1902 in Ahmedabad. Nation in Making, a book written by Surendranath Banerjee. Surendranath Banerjee was born in a Brahmin family. His father, Durgacharan Banerjee, was a doctor. Durgacharan had progressive thinking and Banerjee was deeply influenced by him. He studied at the Parental Academic Institution and then at the Hindi University. Then, his main objective was to break Indian civil services and compete with him. In 1868 he travelled to England. He passed the exam and became the second candidate to pass the exam. He was appointed deputy magistrate in his homeland, Sylhet. But, due to racial discrimination, he was dismissed from his position and decided to protest against that. He went to England, but all his efforts were useless. He began to study the work of liberal philosophers, particularly Edmund Burke. These studies influenced his thinking to the extreme and guided him in his protest against the British. Later, Surendranath Banerjee also received the name, Indian Burke. In 1875 he returned to India and became a professor of English at the Metropolitan Institution and the Institution of the Free Church. Then, in 1882, he founded Ripon College and began lecturing there. He began to give public speeches and his main themes were liberal and nationalist politics. He was also interested in talking about the history of India. On July 26, 1876, he founded the National Indian Association in collaboration with Ananda Mohan Bose. Surendranath took to public life in 1876, the year during which he supported the Indian Association. The article of the association was to agitate for the introduction of political reforms in the Republic of India. In 1877, the age limit for the government officials' examination was reduced from 21 to 19. Surendranath created a tour of the Republic of India, complaintive against the reduction of the utmost age limit. He intrepidly criticized such measures because of the Arms Act and therefore the Vernacular Press Act. Surendranath was elected to the Calcutta Corporation in 1876 and was there for over 20 years. He was elected to the Geographical Region Legislature in 1894, 1896 and 1900. Surendranath reworked his civic and political duties and to suggest that to serve folks the nice words representative institutions were written in characters of gold within the banner that the Congress unfurled. Each nation should be the arbiter of its own destinies. This organization was a corrective solution to provide relaxation due to age issues to the Indian students that appear in the ICS exams. He also founded the newspaper, The Bengali, in 1879. After 4 years, in 1883, he published some commentaries in his newspaper and was arrested, which provoked protests throughout Bengal. In addition, these protests have increased in some Indian cities such as Agra, Amritsar, Lahore, Pune, and Faizabad. INA grew faster than ever and many delegates from across the country joined. INA organized an annual conference in Kolkata, attended by all delegates. In 1885, Surendranath Banerjee founded the Indian National Congress in Bombay and merged it with INA and set himself the main goal of going further. On the way to this task, he was also twice elected President of Congress. First in 1985 in Pune and then in Ahmedabad in 1902. He was one of the main demonstrators of the Bengal demonstration in 1905 and was one of the most influential public leaders in India. As a pioneer Indian leader, Surendranath Banerjee is remembered throughout the world and is respected today. A Nation in the Making, he published it and was widely acclaimed. The British respected him a lot and in his last years they proudly called him Surendranath Banerjee. He died on August 6, 1925 in Barrackpore.